Alright, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is LPOSD District number 84, regular board meeting number 797. And first of all, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, I will entertain a motion for approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as published.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. And the first item of business is we're in Kootenai Elementary School student presentation. So, thank you.
I am Sarah Tiger, the principal at Kootenai Elementary, and I am so excited to highlight our music program at Kootenai Elementary. Both from a parent perspective and a principal perspective, I'm just really proud of the work that is done through our music program. And on that note, I would like to pass things over to our incredible students and incredible music teacher, Miss Hannah Meehan. It's such an honor to be here and get to represent Kootenai and what we're working on in the music program. My name is Hannah Meehan. It's my third year teaching at Kootenai. We kindergarten through second grade, we're using the Fire Robin for Steps in Music that's used district-wide, and then integrating song, games, and a whole lot of movement activities, and then some instruments, non-pitch percussion, and then xylophones as they get into second grade. Second through fifth grade, we start using the conversational solfege curriculum, and then just integrating even more challenging dancing games and circle games where we're singing and playing and running around and singing and playing marimbas and xylophones. So my background and experience is with the ORF approach, which is essentially prioritizing kids' natural inclinations to play and harnessing those things that are naturally musical and giving them an environment and space where they can explore that and deepen those abilities and passions that are naturally part of how we express ourselves as humans so often. In sixth grade, students get to do music through band, and then we've got some extra opportunities in fifth and sixth grade. Students are invited to join the after-school marimba group, and that's what these guys are a part of. We'll be showing you a piece that we worked on in our after-school group this evening. And then we also have a sixth grade district-wide honor band where all the sixth graders get to come and be a part, and that's an extracurricular opportunity as well. All right, so we're going to go through and show you some of the parts of one of our pieces and then build those together and play the piece for you as a whole. I also want to mention this is not our whole marimba group. We've got 25 kids who come play every Thursday for an hour, and it's super fun. And this is just a handful of those guys who are coming to highlight what we're doing. So you guys can find your spots. All right, so we started, it was originally called Island Groove, now it's called Sandpoint Groove. There's a 2 against 3 pattern, which written out looks super tricky and confusing, but they can play it and it's awesome. So middle people, can I hear your part, please? The middle part we've got going. Okay. Go. Simple, and then it got a little more complex. Miss Ariel is going to show you both the first bass line that we learned, and when we have our whole group playing, somebody's still playing this bass line, and then she's going to show the more complex bass line that she got to learn this year, her second year in marimba. Go for it. That's bass line 1, bass line 2. Lovely, thank you, Ariel. two separate directions with it. So Lucas is going to start. Did I have that backwards? One person is going to start the lead line, and then the other person is going to start a second after. And while one person is going up, the other one's going to come down. This also started a little simpler, and these guys have been working in the mornings on making it a little more complicated. Good? Here we go. Arpeggio part just this year that Opal and Taylor are going to show. Can you pick one of those to show, please? Ready. Opal, why don't you show, and then Taylor can show. Here you go. Nicely done. All right. We're going to put that all together into a piece now. Here is Sandpoint Groove. Enjoy. does. So the beauty of this kind of music and these instruments is that we can layer together all of these parts in varying complexities. So every part that every kid learns will be right at their level or a little bit of a stretch. And then it all comes together to create this beautiful piece of music, and each of those parts are equally important. So, Aaron, hit it.
Hi, my name's Ariel. I'm in 6th grade, and I've been in marimba for 2 years. I've been in Kootenai for 7 years, and these past 2 years have definitely been my favorite because of an amazing teacher and marimba. It's a fun place to be, and it's just fun. Hello, my name is Kaylee. I've been in marimba group for 2 years, and like my favorite thing about this is that I can't wait to see how it grows bigger and more vibrant with all the songs that she's probably going to create. So I just can't wait for that.
Hi, my name is Corbin. I'm in 5th grade. I've been doing marimba for 1 year. I enjoy marimba because it's a nice place to just play music, and it's a better place to be than sitting on the couch.
Hello, I'm Robert, and I'm a 6th grader, and this is my first year in marimba group. I really like marimba group because it's just a good place to learn a new instrument and make friends.
Hi, my name's Heidi. I'm in 6th grade. This is my first year in marimba, and it's a fun place to be.
Hello, my name is Opal, and I've been in marimba group for 2 years now. And when I used to just like sit around in the mornings, but now I can come in and play marimba all morning, and I've made a lot more friends.
I'm Lucas. This is my 2nd year here in Marimba Club. I'm in 6th grade. Why I like marimba is because you get to choose what you want to do, kind of. Like, you could choose bass or middle for the easier ones. You could choose baritone for more medium difficulty, and lead line and arpeggio are pretty hard, and so you could choose which ones you want to do.
Thank you guys. I wanted to share we've got an upcoming performance this Saturday at the library. We'll be performing at noon. That'll be our whole marimba crew, 12 to 1, and it'll be an interactive lesson so people can come and learn how to play a little bit of marimba, and then there'll be a dance that goes along with, and we'll just create music together in our community. I'm super excited. If you're able to make it, I think it'll be a really fun time. So thank you all for your time, and this is our music program.
Like to thank you guys, and we had somebody pick up some really healthy cupcakes for you today. So if you don't like sugar, you don't need to have it this late. You better ask your parents first. But thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we're going to take just a short break if people help them carry these out. And Darren is going to take a picture of you guys. Remember, don't leave students until Darren gets your picture. All right. Thank you, Kootenai.
Man, you have to take off the bike. No, not yet. When you have to catch it, and then grab it. You ready?
Oh, Jay, you got that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Anything?
No, thanks, it's so good.
Thanks, you guys. That was absolutely awesome.
I know. Yeah, let's
Thank you guys. That was awesome. So, thank you.
Some kind of umbrella thing.
Their music's so good.
Grandma down there and okay. Everybody.
Tasha Hamer, so.
I am Tasha Hamer, Principal of Washington, and I am here tonight with kindergarten through sixth graders to tell you about an amazing. We had an event at our school on March 21st called Cougar Community Connection, and it was a partnership between teachers, parents, and 90-plus community members that came into Washington Elementary. And our event was funded through a PAVE grant. And the lowdown is kids got to pick 2 workshops that they wanted to attend, and teachers developed the workshops with community members. And so when all of this started at school on our community convention, kids were going all over the place, and you would walk into a workshop and there were kids from first grade all the way to sixth grade in a workshop together based on their interest and their choice. And this Cougar Community Connection really aligns with the district's strategic plan about community connection and partnership with parents and bringing community members into the school, and our school's strategic plan. So these wonderful Cougars are going to tell you about the workshops that they attended or maybe not attended and what the workshop was about. And Chair Williams, will you raise your hand? You guys are taking your material there, and he will pass it down to the other board members so they can kind of see what was created. So we'll kick it off with our Washington Cougars to tell you about this event.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Margaret Mitchell, and I'm in the 5th grade. Thank you for asking. It was really cool to be a part of this opportunity of the Cougar Community Connection. I attended the music workshop, and Mr. Gordon and the SHS band, pep band, came in and helped us get into a whole new world of music. One of my favorite things was how challenging some of the instruments were, like the trumpet or the trombone. You had to put your mouth in a wonky position and play chords, notes, and songs. When I played the trombone, I played it very loudly. Mr. Gordon was practically calling me Trombone Shorty. I couldn't be more happier to see Career Community Connection at Washington for my 6th grade year. Thank you.
And sorry, next slide.
I'm Libby Peel, and I'm in 5th grade. And one of the workshops I attended was horsing around. And a lady came in with her mini horse, and we got to brush its hair. And one thing I really liked was we got to braid the hair and put like a bunch of fun jewels on it. Another workshop I attended was the theater workshop, and Miss Keeley came in from Lake Pomeroy Rec. And it was really fun because we got to act out scenes from fairy tales.
Hi, I'm Libby Welker, and I'm in 6th grade, and I'm going to be talking about the He, She, Be bracelet workshop and the Flowers National workshop. In the He, She, Be bracelet workshop, this had a 6th grade classroom. We went and we took beads and made bracelets. And then in the Flower Smash Art workshop, we got to take flowers and smash them and laminate them into bookmarks.
Hi, I'm Orin Francis, and I attended the baking workshop. We made tortillas from scratch. First, we smashed them with a tortilla smasher, and when they were sitting, we sat down on the carpet and read a book about Mexican foods. And then we started to cook them. And once they were done cooking, we each got to try one or two.
Another workshop was the Dino Day, and Carly and I came in, and she's really into paleontology, so she brought in some bones she's found, and the kids got to dig them up, and some got to bring some stuff home.
My name is Parker Vetter, and I'm in kindergarten. And one of the workshops I attended was the nature frame workshop. I used the frame out of wood, and I grew branches for trees. I grew rocks out of there, and then the second workshop I attended was the spider workshop. I used a method and then I put 3 little clothes things and then I put googly eyes. I put the cloth on it to decorate googly, and then I put pom-poms.
Wow, nice. Nice.
Nice job, Park.
My name is Caleb Gaida, and I attended the survival bracelet workshop. The paracord is 8 feet long, and we use a buckle and paracord. I can't remember.
Go show them the Yeah, let's see it.
Go show them.
That is sweet.
I'm Declan Somerville, and I attended the Spark It Up with Miss Hallie, me and Sean. I'm from Conexu Land Trust, and we used a type of fire, making thing, and we made called the bow drill, and I got smoke, a little bit of ashes, and some sparks.
Just maybe step aside so they can kind of see how they were doing the fire right here.
And everyone sees this guy.
Definitely killing it.
And Declan, did you guys get smoke? Yeah.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Samantha. One of the workshops I attended was the fire workshop, and we got to use the council and we got to wear some fire gear and spray the house in it, and we liked it. Because after we got to have some fun and like having some pictures, then we got to go to, or at least one.
Did you guys hear some? We got to use the jaws of light and cut wood.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the ladder went up part way too, right? Did you go on it?
And they got to move the ladder around, right, Simone?
I'm Taylor Maples in 4th grade, and I attended the KLG weaving with Bree. And so there's a piece of cardboard with string wrapped around his notches, and then you weave strips of string and fabric through them, and then at the end you cut the string on both sides, then you tie 2 together, tie 2 together, and then you both sides. And I also did the clay and some retired pieces open on it, and it has some chain. Breaks in the middle, and I also made a pottery.
Nice. No chicken pox on this one. Okay.
I also did the basketball with Bulldogs, and the high school girls and boys basketball team came in and we did some fun drills, and we also did some team challenges such as competitive shooting, and at the end we got to get their autographs.
Nice.
Hi, and I also attended the basketball with the Bulldogs, but I begged for 2 weeks shorts.
Because we told the kids, you're going to pick your top 5 choices and you'll get your top 5, maybe not your top 1 or 2, but they all got at least their top 1 or 2 choices for one of the workshops. So Ulrich was persistent every day.
Good job, buddy. Heard you be persistent.
Good job.
I know. Good golfing with you too, right? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Margo again.
Golf was a fun experience. Mr. Keogh from the Elks and Miss Ward and her sister came in to help with the golf club, helping us learn the fun activity of chipping, birdieing, and putting. And maybe finally I'd be able to play with my dad, who has much experience in playing golf. Maybe. Another fun thing is when we made a ball into the hula hoop, we would earn a golf ball. Now, I'm a very competitive person, and seeing myself not that good at golf makes me very frustrated. But finally, I earned 2 golf balls. I got to have a lot of fun playing golf, and Mr. Keogh provided golf equipment. This is an experience I will remember forever. Thank you.
It's Mr. Merrill from Maryland. I also attended in the hooked on golf, and I earned 2 golf balls. For one of them, I went up to Miss Ward, she's the teacher, and I went up to her, and they had a mini putt-putt course, and I got it for hitting it on my first try. And then next I went back out into the field and then got another golf ball by hitting a golf ball the closest to the ceiling. That was a challenge.
I also attended the Run for Fun workshop where we met Mr. Peterson outside of the school, and then we walked out to Memorial Field and we got to do obstacle courses and relay races and run around the field with the high school cross country coach.
Thank you. Any questions?
So, yeah.
That's a lot of stuff going on, yeah.
Looks pretty awesome.
I was just hoping that you brought something for us from the Mexican food one.
Yeah. Any tortillas left?
Oh, they were really good though.
I don't know about that.
Are you inviting us over for burritos one day, or?
Are you gonna tell your joke, Caleb?
Oh yeah, my joke. What does the skeleton play? This is a music one. What does the skeleton play in a band? The transpo.
That's been, yeah, I don't think.
And by the way, I'm guessing the skeleton's really handsome because of that
Don't give him the cupcakes. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Double sugar.
Let's give him a round of applause. You guys are so cool. Thank you.
Don't forget your treasures, I can take all these home.
They do
The bar has been set. I already told the bar's a little high now.
Sorry, we're trapping you back. It's all good. Thank you guys.
Yeah, hi guys. See you, Tim.
Thank you.
You have to have the peaks in the valley.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Was that one of your
Everybody left for you, so.
I know.
That was
Which is
the opening act.
So,
Eric's still here.
nobody cares about the money.
Nobody cares about this part.
Have a good night.
This is my favorite part of the whole thing.
Okay.
Chair Williams, board members, Superintendent Meyer. So the budget update for this month is a little longer than normal, so I really apologize. Following those 2 great presentations, to go a little more information on the budget development. The budget hearing will be in just a month. So if you have any questions on sort of more details when I go over here now, I'm available all throughout up to the budget hearing if you have any questions. And we're getting close to we will be advertising the paper just right around Memorial Day to make our deadline for statutory deadlines. So a lot of the numbers are getting pretty firm for budget. And of course it is a budget, and if things drastically change mid-year, we can always amend the budget and move from there. There's a process for that if we ever have to do that.
Okay.
So anyway, our budget goals for this year, last month talked a little bit about it, but really this is a maintain current program year. There wasn't a whole lot of additional dollars at the state level. Just not a whole lot of extra dollars at the state level. So really just maintaining our programs this year and moving forward. What we're trying to do is on the strategic plan is the goal. One thing on the strategic plan that we will really see this year that we haven't seen in many years is addressing the facility needs. And really that's from the state facility and modernization funds and the CTEC grant. But the CTEC grant, they'll be breaking ground, moving the portable into summer, and then working throughout that year. And so again, the grant was almost 3.6 million, 3.5 and change, and additional money from the state facilities fund is going to make up the balance of that project. So it's going to be a $4.7 million project. Those plans right now have already been submitted to the state, as far as permit approval and things like that. So, we're moving on that. Also, Sandpoint Middle School planning and design will be happening throughout the year. I've budgeted, don't have the exact details here, but I budgeted $6 million for costs this year. Because we'll be paying the architects. We might be pre-ordering some of the electrical equipment because it's going to take like a year to get here. So some of those costs may hit even though they won't be doing construction. Again, that's going to be like an $18 million project. Other things that are part of our strategic plan, we want to maintain quality staff, and so we've maintained a professional development and also do what we can with compensation and benefits. The extra dollars that we did get from the state really were directed towards staffing, so that's how our extra state dollars really are towards staffing. And then of course and maintain those things. We want to maintain the extracurricular activities, our technology replacement cycle, and also curriculum purchases. We have a curriculum adoption. We can do that. If we defer some of those things for future year, that's okay. But we want to make sure we maintain on the cycle that the teaching and learning team recommend. And so if we look, one thing, I sort of put a history here because it's a good thing to look at. And Lisa Halls and Dr. Myers all talked about when I said that is, one of the goals is, as we were getting some of the COVID money and all that, was to build up fund balance. And then at some point, we start spending some of that fund balance down to extend when we don't have to ask for additional dollars on a permanent supplemental budget. So you can see, many years ago, fund balance was pretty low. Last year we ended at $22 million of general fund balance, which is a healthy fund balance for Idaho school district our size. And the first one, that 20.4, that'd be where we'd end this year. That's still a guess. Don't hold me to that number, but I think we will cut into some of that fund balance this year. It's about 1.5 million is my guess, but I've been wrong before. But I think we're going to slide some. And then our budget next year is going to spend a little over $2 million from our revenue. So we're starting to spend that towards sort of this long-term plan we've had. Eventually, obviously, you can't do that forever because eventually you run out of dollars. We're sort of living on a savings account. But when you have a fund balance, when it's built up like that, I think it's a good strategy to spend some of it down and not have to go out to the voters for additional research so you really need to, because you don't know what the state might do in future years and things like that. So that's sort of there. The next slide is sort of another way to look at this. So here's our 22, 23, 4 actuals. At the bottom you can see, you see fund balance increase, decrease there. We went up to 2.7. This year I'm thinking we're going to cut it to about 1.5. The next budget, 2.3. And part of the reason why that sort of builds is if we sort of build in a $1.5 million deficit year one, and then we take all the revenues that we take from the state and do the salary increases, and then there's some other additional costs, well, that deficit sort of keeps gathering. Yeah, so if we take a look at the next slide. So here's some of the additional dollars that we're budgeting for. So our revenues from the state, salary-based apportionment increase, which was that 5% raise that they talked about. Remember, that's 5% of the funding formula, not a pure 5%. But in terms of dollars, we're budgeting an additional $1.1 million. Discretionary medical, which is the medical increase that they did pass, is about a little over $300,000. So where's that money going? If you look at the salary increase that we are estimating that will happen, plus teachers and staff moving down the steps, things like that. And there's also staffing adjustments. There's, when we have retirements and things like that, we sort of take that person off the books, and if we're not filling that position, then there's savings, or you're replacing it, you budget a dollar now. But so all those adjustments are with 500 employees, a lot of that going on. So that, anyway, with all those adjustments and things like that, it's about 1.3 million. So you can see it's a little more than the dollars we think we're going to get. Health insurance increase was 7.2% increase. So the actual cost for that, are for at least budgeting, is a little more than the additional we got from the state, but that's not too unusual. Then we have staff adjustments with some federal funds. We're getting some reduced dollars in federal funds just through the normal allocations, because there's formulas and it's how you compare to other districts. And we also had some carryover funds from Title II that, when we spent the carryover, they're gone. So some of those salaries are going back to the general fund. Workers' comp and liability insurance, there's increases there that we've had. Our departments have adjusted some costs, just looking at what diesel's going to cost, things like that. And so sort of that, if you take that 2024-25 revenue expenditure gap, that 1.5, if that truly holds, that's sort of how we got to that 2.3 for next year, because that gap sort of continues. I hope if that gap's better this year, though, that'll be good news, and my budgeting, that will help them as far as the budget, things like that. The other thing I want to show you also, just as a graphic, if you look at the 23-24 actuals, 2024 budget, and 2025 budget, of course, because I don't have my 24-25 actuals yet, but we're done with the year. Just wanted to really show you that where's our dollars? 59% salaries and budget, 24%, so that's 83%. 60 and 25, 85%, and then a 61, and I can't remember, but it's like 84%. So just really our salaries and benefits take up the big ball of wax. And even though the overall dollar amounts stay the same, usually we're a typical Idaho school district, about 85% of your budget is sort of going to salaries and benefits. And that's like fire department the same way. 85% of our budget usually goes to firefighters. That's sort of the way it goes. Just to sort of give you that, in a lot of ways, just as a percentage, we're really not changing a lot of what we do. And a lot of our money is sort of spent before, as we build the budget, since we're going to have these staff, we haven't spent the money, but we sort of obligated the money for the year, right? Actually, in the school district budget, there's not a whole lot of discretion. So that's, any questions on that was sort of all for next year on questions for budgets or things like that. We'll have sort of a similar presentation last time at the budget hearing, but again, if you need more info before then, reach out to me, Dr. Meyer.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, next, and so that's this month. So you can see on the revenue side that we received about $1 million, a little bit from state money, and then other on the local from some grants, interest, and a little bit on property taxes. Our spending, again, is very consistent. We're right there at that $3.5 million of salaries and benefits every month, and the rest are there. You'll see that big $550,000 last month. I did transfer dollars from the general fund, and then this was part of our budget, to transportation. We got a transportation payment, and part of that is the money they give us for buses, so that goes to the bus fund. So we moved those dollars, and also transfer over, we usually give some money to a separate facilities fund for a rainy day, and so we did that transfer also. Otherwise, we're tracking pretty well to budget, and you can see if you look like year-to-date revenues pretty similar to the last couple of years, and expenditures were sort of pretty similar as far as a percentage-wise goes. And then that just shows you, yeah, the green is getting closer, SARS benefits are there. A lot of the other smaller, our non-employee costs we're getting close to the top, just because we're near the end of the fiscal year. Yeah. Same thing with revenues. We stream most of our dollars. Really, the next, we get a payment in July, and we get a payment in May from the state, so that'll sort of make up the rest of those state dollars there on the left on state apportionment. Our supplemental and the other state, our supplemental levy, again, you can get those dollars when they make the June payments. They're credited back to this year, and other local a little bit more than budget. Enrollment, this is actually just from yesterday, so as current as you can get it. We're above the previous year by 22, so we've maintained that throughout the year. A little bit down from the previous month, but it's really been good that our enrollment sort of maintained through that whole year. That's a lot of our other districts haven't had that. The last, do we have anything? Is that it? That one. There you go. Sorry it was so long, but I'm here for any questions.
I don't have any. It all looks good to me. I mean, it's just tracks year to year. It's about the same in terms of salaries and benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big one will really be the facilities. It's sort of neat to see some of those projects going. And yeah, that fix some of the issues with building. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? Nope. No. What on the other local where that was about 400K over? I guess not quite, but close. What's the variance there?
Most of that's interest.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because interest rates are just higher, so we keep them in what they call the local government investment pool. Okay. So it goes down to and they invest it in, it's pretty liquid. I mean, you can grab it at any time. Yeah. And the investments they do have to be, super safe. Rock solid. And yeah, but the interest rates, for years were like terrible. Yeah. I mean, you're under 1%, but now you're getting 3%, or maybe we'll get 3% and you have $20 million in the bank. It's a chunk of change. Up real quick. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. No more questions? No. All right. Thanks, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Now we are on to the superintendent report with Dr. Becky Meyer.
Okay. And I knew we were going to be long today, so I have a very short one today. Saving money. Reminding us of our strategic plans. We have the 4 buckets. Everyone's really familiar with this that's in the audience. Reminding the board of your 3 focus areas. I'm going to speak a little bit about the 1 trusted adult, and then remember we're looking at graduation rate, and Andrew and Casey will be doing a presentation about your last one with student achievement at the next board meeting. The campus security office team, just wanted to remind you of these. Derek Hagstrom, Keith Delahunty, and JD McElroy, wonderful CSO team. They are on the monthly district safety task force. We meet monthly. When we first started, we met weekly, then bi-monthly, and then now twice a month, and then now we've been meeting monthly. You've seen this before, our why, when all of us come together and want to make sure that we have a safe learning environments for our students. But I wanted to let you know that piece of the district safety task force, we set a goal that we are going to do our evacuation and reunification with all schools by the end of 3 years. This was year 1. So thank you to Tasha Hamer at Washington, was the first one that started, and she did the evacuation, but we didn't do the reunification part, so we're going to finish that before the end. But January, we finished Clark Fork, and it went to the entire program, school went over, and then we did 1 grade level that it would come pick up for the reunification. That's at the filling station. Hope Elementary did that on March 20th. They also are evacuated to their site to the filling station. We're going to do in May, we're doing Sago Elementary, and that is going to go Sago and Southside's reunification site with the families are at the Coquilala Bible Church, used to be called the Cowboy Church, but I'm not supposed to call it that anymore. So we have an MOU with them, and then we'll do Washington Elementary and any of the in-town schools, north side to Washington, all of them, the evacuation site. Kelly and JD have gone and went to the fairgrounds, and we have that site secured now. Kelly's in charge of the entire reunification process, and I did talk to the board before about at a public meeting how great of a job she did. And so she's done those already at both at Clark Fork and Hope, and now tomorrow, 2 days from now, tomorrow, oh my goodness, time flies when you're having fun. Tomorrow we will be doing our evacuation. There's 22 people from the district office and district departments that are volunteering to help. And so they go out and see where everything's laid out. Sago Elementary will be evacuated, and then one class will be, that parents have already been notified, it's a drill, that they're helping us with the drill. They'll come and run through our process as if they were picking up their kid after an emergency, and they turn in their ID and we go through the entire process. So this is a good for our committee, our team to work through this, and prior to there being an emergency. And I just wanted to let the board know, we also are giving parent notification. You can link in there and see what we're telling parents. That one was actually Tasha's, that when she told them that they were going to be going to the Lutheran church. So we are ahead of the game. I know I say that a lot, but then I tell you a lot, but we are really ahead of the game. The other districts aren't going through this entire process. And again, we don't want to disrupt the learning for the whole school, but we are, every 3 years, we'll go through just the evacuation piece, and one class will go through the reunification. So it keeps us all sharp and on our toes.
Hopefully we never need it.
Hopefully we never. I say the more prepared we are, the less we're going to need it. That's my motto. Right. Showing you how Student Connection is linking up with Community Connection. We did the Anxious Generation presentation last week. I talked to the board about that. We have a video, which thank you to Matt Brass, came and videoed for us. It's linked in there. That we had those 4 schools invite their families. And now tomorrow night I'm going to be presenting at Southside, and then the next night at Sagal. And then we'll be going to Hope. Casey's going to be doing the first night, and I'm going to be doing the second night. And we're presenting. So if you want to ever check it out on your own time, the video's linked there. And another Student Connection with Community Connection. And we were supposed to have Trustee Sherman on the phone, but she's in the airplane, so we couldn't get her, but her daughter did make it also into this. We had 2 Lake Pend Oreille School District rocketry teams that made it to nationals. And there's only 100 teams going, so there's only 2 from every state, and these 2 teams from Sandpoint with Space Point on our collaboration, and we have, this class at Sandpoint High School. And then they have a club that meets and works on these. They're the only 2 teams in all of Idaho that made it.
Wow,
And they're going to Virginia. Tanya is on, Trustee Sherman is on the plane right now, helping to supervise, going to Virginia. And there's like a lot of money and competition, and you can go to Paris if you win this and be an international. So this is a really big deal. And we just are super proud that 2 of our teams made it. So one of our board members' child made it, so that's awesome. Reminding you that our addressing facilities and our Student Connection on CTE, we just want to make sure it's on your radar and say it every time until we have it. We are having a groundbreaking ceremony. Is it at 9:15 or 9:15? Some of my stuff says 9:30 and some says 9:15, and so I've got to change that because Kawana's asked about that. So at 9:15 for the groundbreaking, hopefully you'll all be there. There's breakfast ahead of time for you, so for the retirement breakfast, so you should all come. I want to give you a couple of quick shout outs for some quality staff. I have 3 to highlight tonight. I sent it to the board, but this is a highlight from the University of Idaho on really what Mr. Gray's programs do in CTE and how he is preparing people for industry. And it was a special recognition from the U of I saying that he does not know how well he prepares students to go to the next level. It's pretty exciting. Alex didn't know. Here's the full letter, and I asked Principal Crossingham. We told him now, and she's going to put it in his IPLP final summative evaluation. Really great feedback for us and CTE. Bobby Coleman, we just found out this week, she is the Idaho Child Nutrition Program Director of the Year for 2025.
Nice.
That's a big deal. She's the entire director, so for the entire state, she's the one. So there's Bobby. And then the last and not least, you probably saw this in the paper, Valley is on our CDI team. She's in the front at Sandpoint Middle School, girls wrestling in the middle school and the high school wrestling coach. And she was honored as nationally for the Idaho coach. So that's a big honor as well. So we have some great honors coming in our school district. All right, remind you also of the Community Connection. Thank you to Darren, I told you last time. He's taking all these pictures. I presented at the Rotary and Kiwanis and the Chamber lately and PAFE. And I've been highlighting to all of them that check out the loop because there's a new local picture every month that Darren's taking. He's having fun with that. And all the past loops are here, and I'll remind everyone they should be linked up to our Facebook and our Instagram. Have everybody take out their phone and do that. Remember, we're focusing on our one thing this year, every student, every day. Any questions?
No? It's fantastic.
Nice job.
So much good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we don't have any public comment.
Correct.
Yes, okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. All right, next, we are on to, there we go, these will be. We have the RFQ for CNGC services at Sagal Elementary.
We have all the information linked. If you have any questions,
Yeah.
CFO Wallace is here.
I don't, does anybody have any questions for CFO? Well, let's go ahead. Brian, if you'd like to.
Yeah, this was actually a little bit of a surprise. Matt Deal knew that there was an issue at Sago with some floor joists that are down below in the crawl space that were needed some replacement. He's almost thinking of doing it in-house. He said, well, while we have the contractors here, maybe we really need to go see how extensive it is. So the architect and the contractors went there just to take a look. And it's a little more extensive than we thought. What happened is when they did the additions, they sort of blocked off the airflow. So really what happened is some of these floor joists got dry rot. And they're fine now, but at some point we're going to have to replace them. So when we started looking at the estimated costs, what we were hoping is that the estimated costs would come in $200,000 or under, then we wouldn't have to do a formal bidding process. However, they really think that it's sort of a labor-intensive job. Just guys are going to be under there cutting out a section, replacing it, and then with just the materials that, I mean, they didn't want to give us a low. Their thing is going to be over 200,000. I estimated 300. I don't think it's more than that. And so to do that, we either have to have the whole design and go out to bid, or do the construction manager general contractor process that we did and select the contractor and qualifications, and then they'll give us a guaranteed maximum price as they really dig into the final there. So we thought that if we would try to get it done this summer, that'd be a better process. Just as far as trying to get permits in and do all that type of stuff. But our goal would be to have the work done this summer. We've used some of the school facilities fund, the Fund 292 that we're getting every year. And so we're truly, and that's what some of these dollars are intended for. We're hoping to be able to use some of them maybe in our strategic plan when we were hitting Washington and some of those other schools that if we see 4 or 5 years down the road that might take some money from there. But maybe not, because the state, one of the things the state did is they did add another $50 million to the House Bill 292 program effectively. So we should see a bump in those revenues that we're getting. Now, those revenues either go for property tax relief or facilities, depending on your situation. For us, we get used for property tax relief, or for facilities. So I think we'll have a little bit of a bump the next few years. Some of that depends with state revenues. Every year you don't know, but I think for that additional $3,000, we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Brian?
Do they have to take the floor completely out, or you said they can go under?
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, it's going to be underneath. It's really the support of the floor underneath the joist. I should have brought a picture.
That's right, but there's plenty of room that they can get under there and do their work instead of.
There's like 3.5, 4 feet. Yeah, so they're going to be. When we were talking the first ones, I go, well, how are you going to go do it? And they said, well, there's going to be 3 or 4 guys there, and it's going to be not fun. But yeah, that's some of it. I think why we knew that the materials wouldn't be super expensive. We said, God, why is it going to be so much?
Because everything's expensive now.
Everything's expensive now.
Yeah.
All right, well, I say we plow forward, see what we can do. I would entertain a motion for RFQ.
I make a motion to approve the soliciting of requests for construction manager services for Single Elementary School, floor joist replacement and repairs.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. Right. Next up, we have Resolution 2502, the energy grant.
Can we just sign that?
Yeah, this is, yeah.
My fault.
It's okay. Sorry, point of order.
We just need you to approve it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 25-02 as presented.
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have a request for alternate authorization for Adrian Nelson. We have Jackie Crossingham here. If there's any questions or concerns, we'll entertain a motion if you guys want to.
I make a motion to approve the alternate authorization teacher to new endorsement for Adrienne Nelson. Did I say it right?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you. All right, next we will move on to the second reading of policy. Our first one up is 3255, student conduct.
I will remind the board that we added the word electronically, put in the AI policy, and then numbers 20, 21, and 22 to link up with further policies that are listed down at the bottom.
You guys have any further questions on this stuff? Okay. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the working 3255 student conduct document.
Second policy. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next, we are on to concussion management. Giant yellow document.
And this was all new policy we went through, and then we took away the old policy, which is all struck out here.
Entertain the motion. motion for approval of policy 3505?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 3505, concussion management.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. And next we are on O.
We need a motion to delete that.
Correct.
Yep.
Go make a motion to delete 3505P concussion management plan.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. Next up, we are on to 3510, administering medicines.
Just reminding you, this is new policy and rewritten. This has all been run through the nurses. This is the old deleted.
Is there any questions, discussion on this one? Okay. I entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve policy 3510, administering medicines.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have first reading of policy 2300, guidance and counseling. 2300.
So we're updating this policy that Dr. Jansen met with the counselors in the district, took away some outdated language, put some new information in. This is the same format we had before in our prior policy. You can see that below, but this is still the same information here with these highlights of the 8 different things. They add more detail and description to it and change the word from vocational to career tech that you could read down below, and then what we change it to up above. So I'm happy to take back any feedback if people have that.
I would say, if I'm allowed to.
Yes.
Is this okay?
Yes.
I didn't see anywhere in there, and it might not even need to be put in here, unless it's in there and I missed it. Something along the lines of like religious advice. Is that worth even going down that road? Because it did talk about like certain things they're not allowed to do. Or is that, I guess, is it even worth putting in there? You know what I'm saying?
No, not quite.
Just like based on
Meaning the
people's
counselor
religious
getting
beliefs,
it.
like, yeah, just to be clear that the counselors won't be giving that type of advice
yes.
as well.
Right.
And it may not even need to be in there. Like, I was just thinking out loud.
Because some stuff was excluded.
Yeah, because it specifically lists a few things. I think it's
Yeah.
paragraph 2, designed to be short-term, responsive, and preventative in nature. Do not provide long-term therapy or diagnose mental health conditions or give, I don't know. You know, if they don't think it needs to be in there, I'm totally fine. I just was throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't, and maybe this is just sheer ignorance, but, you know, what is the case are you saying, like, if a student came in and said, hey, I'm having...
Yeah, I guess what's that line of, like, how far would a counselor go down that road to give
Right.
that religious / moral
Yeah, and their
based
code of
advice?
ethics delineates that they're not supposed to do that, but I could certainly add a piece about that.
I mean, it might not need to be in there. That's, I
Yeah.
guess, what I'm asking is, like, if it's already somewhere,
If
maybe
it's in
we
the
don't
code of
need
ethics,
it. We
then
don't
yeah.
need it. I would
I'll
say probably
research
too,
that
so.
a little bit just to see if that needs to be in,
Yeah. I could also see an instance where someone might come to a guidance counselor and say they're having some sort of crisis of religious faith. I'm assuming at that point, then would a counselor probably try to engage with a faith leader of some kind? Or
well,
with their parents?
according to this, then they would want to contact the
The
parents.
parents,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the parents would, like, do you want us to help link you up with a
Yeah.
person of faith? Do you want to help answer these questions? Do you want me to be open for them to talk to?
Mhm.
That would be up to the parents at that point.
And the only reason I bring it up is because I feel like there's a lot of different areas in our world of an example with my brother's in the Army, and he was giving a chaplain that was totally not aligned with his religious beliefs, and it's like, well, then what do you do? You know, and so I'm not saying this is that exactly, but could it become that in a way?
Yep.
But if it's somewhere, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna research that a little bit before I come back again next month.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or map book highlights that would fly right past me? Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to first reading of 2420, Title 1.
This has 0 changes. Dr. Jansen's here if you do have any questions, but there's no changes. They just annually need to bring it to the board for approval.
Okay. Well,
There's no changes.
do you guys have any questions on the content or anything? Okay. All right, then we'll keep on moving forward. Next, we have 4150, accommodating individuals with disabilities.
And Dr. Jansen again is here to answer if you have any questions on this. This was not applicable, she said, and then they changed a few wording and put in the 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
But she's here if the board members have any questions.
And this is just aligning with new policy.
This is just updating it.
Model policy.
Since 05 it says, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Not much has changed since then.
20 years?
Yeah. Probably due for an update.
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions or some other smart out?
No.
All right. What? All right, we'll move on to 2160.
This one is just to delete. This is out of date. So we're asking next reading and the second reading that we're delete. We don't have No Child Left Behind any longer, so we need to delete that. And then this is just, the next one, 4175, is just our required annual notices, and they're all linked in there. The ones that would be updated, Kelly has highlighted for you.
Okay.
And those are all linked in.
Excellent. Thank you, Kelly, for making those. All right. Well, any administrative announcements?
I'll go.
Jackie.
We are wrapping up ISATs and getting our final results, and we set a goal to increase 3% in each area, and our ELA was fantastic. We exceeded by 12%, and we ended up at 82% of our students proficient in anything else, which is just phenomenal. So super excited. Our math exceeded the goals, and so did science. They actually grew 15%. So our kids and our teachers just did a fantastic job. We're super proud of the progress, just everything that's happening.
It's really awesome.
And we're sending tennis and track off to state in a couple of days, so stay tuned for more on that. So.
Great incentive programs they have at Sampler High School to motivate kids. So
They
really engaged.
They like a parking pass.
Oh, I was just going to say that's an incentive. That's
All kinds of little things, you know. Full time, and, you know.
Sweet.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, anything that motivates kids.
Right, where it works.
It's important because it isn't required to graduate. When I was a principal, it was a lot easier. When I was at Sampler High School, it was, you had to pass to graduate. That's a pretty big carrot. They now do not have the luxury of that, so they have to figure out other ways to help motivation. They've done a great job with that. Tasha, do you have anything else to add?
I think we
Covered, yeah, you did a great job on that.
You took the floor tonight.
Summer, do you have anything to add for Kootenai?
I'm just excited. On Thursday, we're doing our career hour, so we have 14 different community members that are coming in to present on different careers. So like Bonner EMS is coming, we have waste management, just a wide veterinarian, a wide variety of people coming in to share across grade levels, which will be really great and exciting for our community to bring them in and for our students.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, at this point, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session, who feels like reading aloud? Ooh. Not everybody wants. Dave, put your glasses on.
What did you do?
I can do it.
I believe in you.
I gotta make up. I make a motion to move into executive session as provided for in Idaho Code Title 74, Section 206, subsection 1B, to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent, or public school student, and J, to consider legal contract matters authorized under Section 74-26A, 1A, and B Idaho Code.
Oh, you did a good job. I second that.
All right.
Lincoln School.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote, trustee Demers,
Aye.
trustee Wood,
Aye.
trustee Peters,
Yes.
chair Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. We are moving into executive session.
I don't